for those who saw the show at Paper Mill, what will be new and different for Broadway?
We got to spend a lot of time watching the audiences at Paper Mill, and it was really fun to watch them sort of lean in at a certain point in the plot, but we were pretty confident that we still had some work to do in the first 15 minutes to really try to land us there a little bit better. So we have a bunch of new stuff in the first 15 minutes. In fact, there's a lot of new stuff in the first 15 minutes. And then we also wanted to go a little deeper at the end of the story. The Great Gatsby is such a rich novel, and there's so much detail. There's so much that it's able to do in 135 pages. But it's hard in a musical, trying to land the plane on that and making sure that you're hitting the depths of it at the end, I think is really something that we hope that we can do a better job of. And that's about the setup and it's about the landing. And so we've spent a lot of time looking at the beginning and the end of the story.
I feel like a lot of folks are interested in this whole question of Nick as our way into the story. Is that remaining the same? Is it shifting? How do you... what is Nick's relationship to the story in our musical of The Great Gatsby?
We always wanted to discover Nick a bit as a writer toward the end of the piece, and that's still true. But we're playing around with framing that a little bit more at the top of the story, so that you get a better sense of him as somebody who's trying to wrap his arms around the whole thing. But at the same time, the thing I don't want to do is have a guy who's standing there telling you the story of the Great Gatsby on the side of the stage while we watch other people sort of do his interpretation of it. So it has to be something that we can relieve ourselves from and really go into the depths of these characters, because that is what I love about our adaptation.
Well, yeah, and I feel like what a lot of folks are responding to is one thing that people are responding to, at least, is female gaze on The Great Gatsby, which has never really happened before. And it's if we were only seeing things through the lens of Nick Carraway or Fitzgerald's proxy, then, we wouldn't have those wonderful moments where we get the inner lives of those female characters. So I love it. I guess that wasn't a question, unless you have anything you want to add there.
I do, actually. One of the things that was really gratifying to discover as I went deeper and deeper into research, because I'm a total English nerd. So I went, after Paper Mill, I had done a bunch of research leading up to it, but then I went further into my research afterwards. And it's been really interesting to discover that F. Scott Fitzgerald, he thought that one of the reasons the book was not very well received was because the character of Daisy wasn't deep enough and clear enough, and her motivations weren't as clear as they could be. And I think he's right. I mean, the reason the book became such a massive hit after he died was because it was sent to soldiers. And then those soldiers became English teachers. They became researchers. They went on to do all kinds of different things. But it was by way of sort of the male soldier gaze that it became a big hit. But the people who were actually reviewing books in the 1920s were mostly women. And he was pretty convinced that he had made a large error in judgment on that.